34 on a Friday morning, 58 degrees outside. You're tuned into Morning Maine on WERU, and we do have a special treat this morning. I'm not alone in this room playing music. David Scott Norton is here. He's our featured artist of the week, and he brought along brother Lester Norton. They're here live in our on-air studio. Welcome, David and Lester.
Hi there.
Morning. Well, thanks for showing up here, and this is rare because you're not hyping or publicizing a special gig or any benefit concerts or anything. You are here as musicians just to talk about you and your music.
Just to talk about what we're doing, and just glad to be here.
Now, you're both originally from Maine too, right?
Yep.
You're from Herman, the Herman area?
Yep.
But now the Mid-Coast is where you reside?
So I'm down in Camden, and my brother Lester moved back to Brewer.
Yeah, we spent 24 years down in Florida, which is plenty.
and you've returned to the home state.
Yeah.
So, because you grew up in Herman, I have to ask, whenever I've been in central Maine, and this is a huge stereotype, but there seems to be a groundswell of support for country music. Do you think that perhaps where you're from helped play a part in deciding what kind of music you like?
I think our dad did, actually. I know when I was growing up, it was, country music was the devil. Nobody liked country music, but I was always listening to Hank Williams and Johnny Cash and our dad. And but it's coming back. As I think as people age up, they come to country music.
Because the music tells stories and songs are topics they can relate to. And what you were listening to for country music, what you were just mentioning, Hank Williams or even Johnny Cash, people like that, that may not have been the country music that was on the radio when you were growing up, I'm guessing. That was a different kind of country music that friends would just probably detest if they heard that. But the classic stuff was probably even more niche. And you say because of your dad, was he a musician?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was, and he played down in Tennessee and Georgia. He's from Georgia, and wound up here in
Dow Air Force Base. Yeah.
Working here.
Here, and then playing music all around the state. So that's back in the '60s.
Yeah.
Early '60s.
And then you started very young, so I have to ask, was that something he pulled you into, or were you at 5 really interested yourself and motivated to do it?
I think we were really interested, and my brother Lester more so. He played all the time with my dad. Played bass and guitar and the campground circuits around the whole state.
Yeah, we'd go camping every summer, and he'd haul out the guitar, and all the campers would gather around, and he'd make me play bass. And back when I was a teenager, pimply-faced teenager, I was like, oh God, I'd kill to do that again.
Now, the campground circuit, is that a spontaneous gig, or was that announced like this summer?
No,
It's
the
spontaneous.
Okay, you just show up and you're there.
Everybody, it was expected, actually. We showed up, and everybody brought their lawn chairs, and sometimes there was a stage at the campground, and they just show up and they sit in front of the stage and wait for my dad to come out, because they just expected it. This is what you're here for. And
doing that from a young age, I'm curious, I think the listeners are too, to hear what a live song would sound like with you two performing live in the studio. Do you want to do something and tell us what song it is?
Let's do it. Let's do one of the first songs we ever played together and recorded. It's called "Miner's Child," and it's an old Stanley Brothers song. A miner was leaving his home for work when he heard his little child scream. He went to the side of that little child's bed. Oh, Daddy, I had such a dream. Daddy, don't go to the mine today, for dreams they so often come true. Daddy, dear Daddy, please don't go away. I never could live without you. I dreamed that the mine was all blazing with fire. The workers all fought for their lives. Just then scene switched to the mouth of the mine. It was covered with sweethearts and wives. Daddy, don't go to the mine today, for dreams they so often come true. Daddy, dear Daddy, please don't go away. I never could live without you. go down to the village and tell all our dear friends, as sure as the bright sun does shine, that something is going to happen today. If Daddy don't go to the mine, Daddy don't go to the mine today, for dreams that so often come true. Daddy, dear Daddy, please don't go away. I never could live without you. Daddy, dear Daddy, please don't go away. I never could live without you.
Miner's Prayer here live in the studio. David Scott and Lester Norton performing right here with us. So that was the kind of music you were playing at campgrounds in, would this have been when you were performing with your father in the 80s, 70s?
Late 70s, 80s. Yeah, I'm about 8 years older than Scott.
So that puts a different frame of reference sometimes
Yeah.
for music and so that those were your early years
Yeah.
playing music.
When I played, well, I always sang. I got up and sang. I was always the little one and get up and sang.
The Michael Jackson of the group,
Yes.
the family group.
Yes.
Right?
And so I sang with my dad, for a while, and then as I grew up, and I kind of had other things to do. I lost interest. My brother tried to teach me how to play guitar when I was like 8 or 9, and there was a ball outside that distracted me. So I got away from it until I was an adult, and I started working at a place in Bangor called Lily's. It was a karaoke bar.
I think I was there once doing a mean version of Love Shack in the 90s. Yeah.
So I started working there, and I became a part-time karaoke host, and I just loved to sing. So I started singing everywhere and doing karaoke songs, and it kind of progressed from there. I got tired of standing in line waiting to sing karaoke at places, and I picked up the guitar, and in 2004-ish. My brother found some old reel tapes with songs of my dad playing, like 17 or 18 songs.
He recorded a reel-to-reel tape to send home to his family down in Georgia back in 1967.
To show what he was doing up here.
Yeah, it was really cool. And
so I got that, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna buy a guitar, and I'm gonna learn how to do this. And I'm not sure I've learned how to play guitar yet, but I'm doing it.
It's a work in progress for everybody. So that's 13 years ago.
Right.
So you've been at this now as a musician for 13 years.
Right. So I went to, my first open mic in Philadelphia at a punk bar on South Street, and there's a punk band in front of me just rocking out, and I got up with a little guitar. I knew how to play 2.5 chords, and I started playing some Hank Williams, My Bucket's Got a Hole in It.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time I was done, I had a full band playing behind me.
Because they love the music and they play it and they knew the lexicon. I think that's what happened to Dwight Yoakam, right? He played in a punk club. He played his Bakersfield country, and huge receptive audience loved what he was doing. And that gets back to what you were saying, with the spirit of the music.
Right, and it kind of was the beginning of what I'm doing now with a project called the Honky Tonkin' Project, and it's kind of a network-based. That's where it started. I met a guy named Paul Edelman there. He's down in Asheville, North Carolina now, and he gave me tips on guitar and became my friend, and he introduced me to somebody in New York, and I went to an open mic in New York and played there in Manhattan, played old country music, and loved it. And then I went to LA, and the guy in New York introduced me to some people in LA, and then I came back to Nashville, and some people in LA introduced me to people in Nashville. So I'm kind of just making a kind of round of singing old country music, and it doesn't matter who you are as a musician. It seems like you know these songs, you can get up, you can play them, and everybody loves to play them.
And that's what it sounds like, and that almost surprises me that in some of those major metropolitan areas there were so many people interested in playing this kind of music. And you were in what many would deem the music industry cities: New York, Los Angeles, Nashville. There's no better place to try and become known for doing this. Did you find those scenes positive overall, or is it
super receptive?
Okay, for this kind of music. And then coming back to Maine and doing this music here, I would imagine that opens up a lot of performance opportunities around the state. This kind of music has more, I think, potential places to perform than others.
I think it does. Yeah, there's a great demographic loves this music, and it's really fun to play around here. And I ended up coming back to Maine and hooking up with some people down in Portland, a few in Bangor, with the band called Jerks of Grass.
Right.
Jason Phelps.
I was with Carter this weekend.
Yeah, Brian Durkin. So they're playing on my on our Honky Tonkin and Acadia CD. We started recording that a few months ago down in Portland at the Acadia recording company. And who else we played with? So we got Tyler Leinhart playing fiddle on that, Chris Dow playing drums.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are all from Portland. And then when I'm up this way, I've played with Jeff Budge, Tom Morelli from the Alice and Eames and the Flames. So they're just rooted in country music. They're the standards around here.
And it sounds like you're mingling in with them. And this is a rare treat to have both of you together as a duo in the studio, because I'm guessing because you do live far apart, relatively, in Maine, you don't get together as a duo much, probably.
Not so much.
Not a lot. He came up and played in my church last Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, this is a chance then for listeners to hear both of you.
Yeah.
Do you have something else that you can do as a duo in this setting?
Let's do Love's Precious Flames. So, Love's Precious Flames is a song that came off that reel-to-reel tape. My dad wrote it, and it had just the verses, and I took it down to my friend Paul Ellerman in Asheville, and he kind of gave me some tips on how to do a chorus, and that's how we rearranged it, and it's going to be on our CD.
So this is written by your father originally, and you finished sort of the work on it. What was the name of it again?
Love's Precious Flame.
Love's Precious Flame. David Scott Norton, along with Lester, live in the studio.
Love's precious flame must keep on burning, burn oh so bright, each day and night. Give her all the love you can. Love's precious flame, flame, flame that you hold in your hand. Love's precious flame that you hold in your hand. Give her all the love you can. Don't let her break your heart in two. Never let her say she's tired of you. Love's not a game. Don't be a fool. Do all you can to help it through. Give her all the love you can. Love's precious flame, flame, flame that you hold in your hand. Love's precious flame that you hold in your hand. Give her all the love you can. Don't let her break your heart in two. Never let her say she's tired of you. Forget the past, the lonely nights. She's back in your arms. Now hold her tight. Give her all the love you can. Love's precious flame, flame, flame that you hold in your hand. Love's precious flame that you hold in your hand. Give her all the love you can. Don't let her break your heart in two. Never let her say she's tired of you. Never let her say she's tired of you.
Love's Precious Flame. The song written by David Harold Norton, performed here by David Scott Norton and Lester Norton, his sons, here in the studio. So did he write a lot of original numbers?
No, he mostly played Johnny Cash, Buck Owens, George Jones.
So for something to inspire a song like that, do you think that stems from any real life incident or inspiration, or was it just a great melody that came to him that he filled in words?
I don't know, he didn't talk much about it.
He didn't, no.
I didn't even realize it until we found those tapes.
That there was an original?
There was one, yeah.
And as far as you two go, making music together, I on the EP noticed that a lot of the songs obviously written by musicians who we recognize their names here. Do you create originals yourself too?
My brother's a writer, so what I'm
Okay.
doing with these EPs is I'm picking two songs that are standard classic songs. So the first one was two Hank Williams, Johnny Horton songs.
Right.
And I'm picking two songs from local songwriters. So Ted Russell Camp wrote one of those songs. It's off one of his CDs, so it's kind of a cover of Ted Russell Camp in L.A. And then he co-wrote a song with a guy named Wayne Buckner down in North Carolina, which was his original song, so I was the first one to record that song. So on this Acadia CD, I have two classics, a Hank Williams and a Buck Owens song, and then I'm doing our dad's song, which is brand new, original, and I'm doing one of Lester's songs that he put on his CDs.
And Lester, I have to ask, because it is country music and because this stuff does really happen, are these lyrics cribbed maybe from personal experiences? Do you have a country music existence?
I'm the one who actually lives the country music life.
I'm boring. I'm super boring. Yeah.
But as far as country music life, you've lived the troubadour lifestyle, and
Well, no, I mean the stories and the the trucks and the heartbreak and the
it's all there.
yeah, so they can draw inspiration from my
Now,
biography.
when this original music first began, when we think of that classic country, what many of us forget is when radio hit around the 1920s, the recording industry was very furious because people could listen to the radio for free to hear music. Nobody would buy music. They could hear it for free on the radio. And obviously they figured a way around that. But one of the things they did was record musicians who made this country music and other types of music, and they put anything on record because they were hoping something would sell, because radio was playing certain music. Now today we find ourselves at the internet age, where arguably anybody out there could conceivably get almost any song completely for free. But musicians are continuing to make music. What I have to ask you, somebody with a huge fan base like you online, like your social media, and I think you said 4,000 followers?
4,000 or 5,000.
4,000 or 5,000. So
That's not huge.
Right. But for Maine, I think 4,000 or 5,000 social media followers seems like a big amount. But so they're following your music, and do you think these are people who will turn into potential future record buyers? Will they buy your music? Will they come to shows? How is it working in this internet age for you making country music?
Yeah, I think the internet and having all those followers, it's really just it's advertising.
Okay.
It's marketing. That's if you're not on the internet using it as marketing, then you're behind the times.
It's name recognition.
Yeah.
That's kind of what album sales have always been anyway, is a way to get people to come to the concert, which is where people
It's gone back
spend the money.
to that.
And so now, to get people to come to the concert and and buy something, buy a CD, buy a T-shirt, because that's what keeps musicians alive now. So when I go to shows, try to buy a T-shirt, buy a CD, because that's where bands make their money.
And there are some merch options for David Scott Norton fans, correct? Besides the EP, there are T-shirts. Speaking of,
I just got T-shirts, and you can get them. Where I'm playing, I'll have them up online. I think I'm not really into the whole shipping and all that stuff, so. But maybe I'll put them on my website, so you can get one. But you can get my CD at anywhere. CD Baby, you get.
It's probably on
all-
Amazon.
It's on Amazon. It's on
Apple,
iTunes.
yeah.
You can get it up at Target. Target put me on there, and so it's a little more expensive.
right. There's the department store surcharge.
In the last 10, 15 years, it's been a lot easier. I mean, it's harder because there's so many people out there competing, because
Mhm.
now anybody can do it.
Can make it
But
out.
I made one 11 years ago, and it's just make it in your bedroom, put it on CD Baby. CD Baby takes and distributes it for you to iTunes,
Everywhere.
Apple, or Amazon, everywhere. So
They're the ones providing that service.
Yeah.
I just wondered how that worked.
yeah.
Well, let's hear another. I know time runs so quickly out here at Morning Maine. We'd love to at least get one more live track in before.
Let's do your song.
Okay.
So this song was written by Lester.
What's the name of this one?
I don't sing on this one, so go
I
for
guess you don't. But you can chime in.
You wrote it.
It's in D though. We're doing it in D. Alright. You told me you were mine, and that you'd always love me. You said that you'd be true, and that we'd never part. But now you're showing signs of things you wanna tell me. That's why I'm I'm asking you to protect my foolish heart. 'Cause I'd rather hear you lie than to hear that you don't love me. I'd rather that you say everything that was untrue. I'd rather hear you lie than to hear that you don't need me. I'd rather hear you lie so I can keep on loving you. Don't bother with a call. Now don't you try to phone me. I ripped out all the lines. I won't answer anymore. I spend my time alone. My friends, they have disowned me. I spend my time at home so I'd never have to know. And I'd rather hear you lie than to hear that you don't love me. I'd rather that you say everything that was untrue. I'd rather hear you lie than to hear that you don't need me. I'd rather hear you lie so I can keep on loving you. I'd rather hear you lie so I can keep on loving you.
Song written by Lester. Lester, what's the name of that track?
I'd rather hear you lie.
I was thinking it was. So you both are here in the studio, and as I said at the very beginning, you don't have a particular gig to promote right now scheduled, but I'm sure you are going to be performing later this fall.
Yeah, we're playing at Zoot Coffee September 1st down in Camden. My next big show is in New York City at 54 Below. It's right off Broadway. It's on November 25th. So if you're down in Manhattan for the Macy's Parade or something, come see me. It's right below Studio 54. It's an iconic spot in the theater. I'm in the basement, nice fancy jazz club right there. And then we've got this the CD coming out, Acadia, Honky Tonk in Acadia.
Expected time of arrival on that?
November.
Okay, that also.
So I'm finishing up that. I'm actually working with the guys down in Portland. I'm working with a guy actually in Camden. He's from Nashville. He's a studio guy from Warner, Bob Tassi. He's gonna help me. Actually, he has a couple Grammys to his name, so it's nice to have his input on my songs. And I'm gonna go over to his place later today and do some recording. And then on to Honky Tonkin' in NYC CD, and then Honky Tonkin' in Nashville CD.
So there's a plan for future releases.
Yeah, it's a 40-piece set.
Well, before we make way for Highway 61, which is our 1-hour Bob Dylan show up next, I'd love you to give people all the ways they can find you on the internet. Like we discussed earlier, you're out there, but how can they find you?
So the best way is my website, www.davidscottnorton.com, and I'm pretty active on social media. So if you Google David Scott Norton or go to Facebook, look for David Scott Norton, you'll see me.
So they'll find you, and they'll add themselves maybe to your online subscribers.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, thank you both, David and Lester, for being here. And yeah, we're going to make way for a guy that you might have also sung at some of those campfires, Bob Dylan. His music takes up the next hour here on WERU.
Awesome.
Thank you both for driving up here this morning and coming to WERU. We appreciate it. And good luck out there.
Thank you.
At the Foundation of Community Radio.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. The transition is always tricky in radio, so I saw him out there, so I knew.
6600.
But I'll get out of the way and make way for him. But thank you. I realize this is a long way to drive, and it's early in the morning, but
Howdy, guys. It's all right.
we have this little ballet dance we do. Yes, thank you again. The promo's a little longer this time, which helps. So this helps though.
Thanks for coming in.
Oh, thank you. This was a lot of fun.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you guys were coming in. Like all week he was promoting with no local gigs.
What's your name?
I'm Willie.
Okay.
I'm on the staff here.
Hi, Lester. Nice to meet you.
Great. So it's been good stuff. I like it.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice.
And a new one coming out.
I'm gonna get a picture of you guys outside in front of the ERU sign.
Okay,
If
yeah.
you do pictures.
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
Guitars or not?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, bring the props.
Did you guys actually play those?
He did. I just strummed along.
Just strung along.